Hello, guys and girls. Chokester here with another episode of FTB Unstable. We're up to episode 24 today. And like I mentioned last episode, we're going to get into a little bit of Botania because there's some really cool endgame stuff I want to get to. So what I've done is I have created a whole bunch of mana pearls, some mana diamonds, some extra mana steel, and I've also created another rune of mana. First thing though, I want to show you about mana production. That's always the most important thing when dealing with Botania. So I've added a few more Endo Flames. Those are, they're my solution. They're medium generator of mana. There's better ones like the Gormalis that eat food and stuff, and we could set up a farm and throw potatoes in there, and that's really cool, right? But my solution is nice and easy because I just dump some coal in here. It then pumps into here, generates the red coal, dumps into here, and then it slowly dumps it out via the timer here. Timer set at 800 for all of this. I find that to be pretty good. There's a couple of them that aren't running, but the main thing is that if we look at this guy, it's pretty much full all the time. So we either need to upgrade the spreader. Ding, fries are done. We either need to upgrade this spreader or we need to add another one. So we're probably going to want to upgrade it. I like to have simple things and nice and easy. But I just want to show you a couple of things. Maybe you have in the past noticed these overgrowth seeds. Found them in dungeon chests. That's the only place to find them. So I want to show you what they do. With day blooms, we know those guys, they disintegrate after a while. So let me just make one more here. Drop these guys in here. That, and I'm going to need a seed. There we go. And you get the idea. Okay, so what these overgrowth seeds do is, that if I put these down after, roughly 72,000 ticks, I think it is, they will go away. But if I were to place these guys down, this is the overgrowth seed, then what I can do is place down these day blooms and they won't wither. They don't disappear. And so that's what those guys do. Now, I've only found 4 in all my travels. So these are passive generation. They don't need any coal. So even when I'm not here, they're just generating mana. They are bound to the mana spreader. So we're going to want to do let's see, we'll go here and we'll type in the portal to Alfheim. We want to create the portal to Alfheim, all right? And it shows that there's multiple things. We need living wood blocks, glimmering living wood, and Elven Gateway core. But most of those rely on these TerraSteel nuggets. In order to get a TerraSteel ingot to make into nuggets, we need to have, this is how to set up the pylons here, and this is what it's going to look like. And it's got a really cool visualizer. We'll look here in a second. But we're going to have to set up the terrestrial agglomeration. This guy right here, the terrestrial agglomeration plate. And so it's pretty straightforward. We just need a rune of fire, air, mana, earth, and water. So let's grab those guys. Let's see, mana. We don't need summer right now. We need air, earth, fire, and water. Good. All right, so pop those all in. I already have 3 lapis blocks, 1 block of mana steel, and that's either you can take your mana steel and create a block out of it, or you can take a block of iron and dump it in the mana pool. So we create that guy. Now, the pattern for this, and we can actually look this up in here. So let's go back here. See, TerraSteel, how do we, I think it's under this one here. All right, so we make the plate this way, and then the pattern is there are 4, this is lapis, and then this living rock, and there's 5 of those because there's 1 in the center underneath. And you can visualize it. We don't really need to visualize it, but I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe we'll throw it right here. Let's see, we put this here, 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 and here. And then we're going to need the living rock right here, not there. And then we put the plate right on top of it. All right, now this is to create our TerraSteel. However, we need to get mana to it. And for that, what we're going to need to do is we're going to make these things called sparks. Now, we could, in theory, we could point one of these mana spreaders, or even all 3 of them over here, and it'd send mana. But the mana spreaders send it very slow. So we want to create these things called sparks, which send it very fast. So it's really very simple. It's just a little bit of blaze powder, gold nugget, and any color petal of of flour. So let's pick one. Let's do. We'll do a couple different ones. So I just want one for right now. All right, so that one will receive mana from any other sparks, but we're going to need these here, 2, 3, and then the last one is right there. So we put those sparks on there, and then we can throw throw whatever items we want on here, and it will use up the mana. So let's look at our book again, and let's go back to the TerraSteel. All right, TerraSteel. And let's look at the recipe for this. We did that, right? And so now we need a mana diamond, mana steel ingot, and a mana pearl. So let's grab each of those, and a diamond, mana pearl, and a mana steel ingot. And so what we want to do is, a good thing is, I know I have this flower here that kind of blocks off my my ring from working, but it's always a good idea to take this off. And then what I found is to kind of get right above, just about right here, and dump them on, because if they get removed at any point, the process will stop working. So here we go. We got some cool particle effects in there. It pulls a lot of the mana over, and there we go. We've now created our mana steel ingot. So how cool. And it didn't use too much of the mana here. These were pretty much full, since I've had this running for a good 15 minutes or so. All right, so that's perfect. So now let's clear this out, and we need to break this apart into here, because the next step, if we look at our portal of Alfheim, is we need to make this guy right here, this Elven Gateway core. And then we're going to need to make, so we make the Elven Gateway core, we're going to need 2 mana pools, 2 Natura pylons, which I'll show that recipe in a second, 3 glimmering wood, and 8 living wood blocks. Now the glimmering living wood is really simple to make. You can look that up in JEI or in here. The living wood blocks, we already know what that is. So let's look at this Natura pylons. All right, so it's just a regular pylon, which if I shift click, it's this here, very straightforward, and then 3 more of these nuggets. Remember, I got 9, and then an Eye of Ender. So let me get cracking on creating all this. Okay, guys, I made 2 Natura pylons, a 8 living wood. This is just our standard living wood. I have an Elven Gateway core. I have 3 glimmering living wood, and I have 2 mana pools and 2 sparks. Plus, I got a little bit extra here for us to do a little bit of automation. So if we look in the book, we can see we've got the Alfheim portal here. You can see how it looks like here, but we can also do something really cool and visualize it. So we can move it around and look all over. So I've kind of figured out that this is where I want it right here. Just 1 block down. And then if I right click on that, it will then leave it there, and I can actually see where it's going to go. So let's start placing this. That's pretty much it. All we have to do now is hit it with our Wand of the Forest, and it will open, except for we need these guys here first. So put those guys down here. We'll put the Natura pylons on top of it. All right. And then we have to get mana in here somehow. Now, a normal way would be with sparks. However, we don't have the infrastructure. Did that actually go in? No. There we go. You actually look down at the block here, and it's actually inside of there. You can just barely see it right there. Normally, you'd use sparks. There we go. And but we don't have the right kind of sparks yet. That's what we need this Elven Gateway core for. So we're going to have to use this method with the mana tablets. And so remember, we can, once it's set this way, it'll pull from the mana tablet, and I don't have to add a lot in there. See if we can get it in there. Nope, not going to get in there. So let's take this out first. All right, no problem. We'll toss this in. We'll fill that up a little bit with mana. And we don't need a ton. I mean, the book says it uses a lot, and it takes even more to open it, uses a lot less to maintain, but we'll throw in about 1/4 of a mana pool. It's not going to take a ton. Here we go. And we can always refill our tablet up with that. It's all full by now. In the short amount of time that I was crafting that stuff, it pretty much filled up those with the coal that I had in there. All right, so let's see how much is in there. Yeah, just right at about 1/4. Give that back, please. All right, let's put our pylons back on. right, and the sparks should already still be there. Make sure none in my inventory. Okay, so I should be able to open this now. And there we go. Now, the cool stuff that we want comes from throwing stuff. I know a lot. I use stuff a lot. I probably should get used to that or get better at that. So we can throw things like this in there. We can also throw some living rock in there. So let's grab, half a stack of that. And what else? I think I can throw living wood in there. Let's grab a half a stack of that. You can define, so the first thing we want to do, we can find out more about it from our book if we upgrade it. So the first thing I want to do is throw that in there. And so that will have created us a new book. That's now labeled with the Elven Guard, and you can read all about it. And this is pretty cool to read, but you should do that. If you're following along, you should definitely read this. Pretty cool story, all right? So now we've got all kinds of new stuff. Anything in green is the new stuff. So let's look at the resources. So we can do Dreamwood, Elementium, Pixie Dust, Dragonstone. And that's stuff that they have in their world that we don't have here. And so we can toss things like the living wood, and we get back Dreamwood. So it's mostly decorative for that, but we're going to do it. We can also create a new Dreamwood twig with it. We can throw Mana Steel in there. Now it takes 2 per every 1 block of Elementium. Remember that armor that we looked in last episode? We can make armor out of this Elementium. And there's the Mana Pearl or thrown in to get Pixie Dust. And likewise, the Mana Diamond gets us the Dragonstone. So that's what we want to throw in there. We can also throw Nether Quartz in there to get Elven Quartz and anything else. I want to do some of this Mana Glass, so we're going to do that as well. So let's throw some of these things in. So we should get back 15 of these if I toss those in. There we go. There's our 15. We should be able to get, let's see if that's far enough. Yep. And we do have our ring on. Oh, but our flower's near there. There we go. All right. Did we get all 31 of them? Where's our 32nd one? It kept it. That's okay. I should also state that if you throw in something that they do not accept or have the equivalent, they'll consider that a donation. So we got 32 of those. So let me grab some glass actually here. So let's grab some glass. So regular glass is cool. So what I'll need to do first, I'll need to toss it in here to get Mana Glass. So I like this stuff. This is pretty neat. And also, in case you can throw it 1 by 1 in here if you want. But this is so much quicker doing it this way. And the reason why is I like the look of this glass. It looks pretty slick. Now, Mana Glass itself has a slight hint of blue to it, but the Elf Glass looks really cool. And I like to throw it. You notice how I had to step through sometimes? I like the look of this glass. So, I know my ring wasn't working is because I don't have any mana in my mana tablet. So now when I throw something through, it actually bounces back towards me. So that's what I like to put behind there, kind of keeping it in the mod pack. If we take a look at what the Pixie Dust can make, there's lots of neat stuff. This Conjuration Catalyst is pretty cool because it's able to double things. So now I can finally make that. That's a lot of fun. And anything that we're low on, we can double it. And you can look in here. It doubles a lot of things. At the cost of mana, of course. But let's see, what else do we have? Now we have a great fairy ring, Rod of the Bifrost, and some neat stuff in here. But the main thing we can do is make these sparks. And so we can make dispersive. Let's look up sparks so you can see all of them right in a row. So there's dispersive and dominant and recessive and isolated. So there's various things for these. Mostly I go with recessive or dominant. And the way these works is if you have a spark with this augment inside of it, let's say I had this one, then it would suck all the stuff out of here. Well, this doesn't have a repository, so it can't really do anything. But if I were to put dominance on here, it would suck all the mana from these guys and ensure that these guys are full. That's one way of doing it. But I like to do is recessive and throw it on, let's say these 4 here, I can throw it on here and it will fill all other mana pools. And that's what I want to do, is have another set of mana pools over here with sparks on them, just plain old sparks. And these guys, if they have recessive on them in their sparks, then they will fill up all of those mana pools. So let me set that up, and we're going to start creating more to be able to make more mana steel, or TerraSteel. So give me a second, I'll be right back. So I've made 5 more mana pools, put sparks on top of it. We've already seen how to make all those. Now, the recessive spark needs a rune of earth. Well, technically we're going to need 4 of them, so we have to do this twice. So it's a very simple recipe. I've already gathered up the stuff. Put that on there, that, and I need mushrooms. Put that on there. Let's grab a couple of pieces of living rock. Oh, crap. I have some right here. There we go. And little overrun. Out of the way. Put that on, and then we get our 2 runes of the earth. Like how I'm getting achievements. I just got an achievement for building a mana pool. Okay, let's do that one more time. Thank you for auto popping. And mushroom. And what else am I missing? Coal. Go. Pop that on. Wait till it finishes. With the 2 spreaders, it goes nice and quick. That's why I did it. Okay, we've got those. Now, one thing I want to mention is that, check this out. We're pretty much filling up this mana spreader. I showed that before, so we can do something about that fairly quickly. We've got these. We'll get to that a second. Let's see, spreader. And so if we look at the Elven mana spreader, it's pretty much just this Dreamwood and the Elementium, and so we should be able to make it, because I did make some off camera here. I threw those wood in because we didn't do that on camera, but that's pretty straightforward. You saw how to do that. So let's make one of these guys, and we'll grab one of these, and we can actually replace this. Now, remember, all of these things need to be remapped, so maybe I'll wait a second to do that, because, yeah, I can do that off camera. But let's go back to the spark. So we want the recessive spark, and we now should be able to make all 4 of those. The way these work is we want to right-click on the spark themselves, and they place it in there. Now you can see how it's going to fill up all the rest of those. So let's put, so it distributes evenly. Let's put them on the rest of these, and there. So now we're dropping coal, well, technically red coal, into here, and it's generating mana. It comes into these pools. They distribute it all over to our backup pools here, plus, oh, come on, let me pass, plus over to these guys. So now I have mana generation here, distributing to all the others, and I don't have to create any of the rest of the sparks. So that's the best way I've found, and it will always keep up these pools and prioritize all the rest of the pools first. And if I need more mana, I can just continue to add more pools with regular sparks, the cheap sparks, without having to make more of these runes and make more of the dominant. Another way around is to, if I were to create dominant and put them on there, then it would suck it from those. But these give it up freely. That's really cool. The one downside is that this guy here with my catalyst underneath it, it might not be full at any given point until the rest of these are full. So in theory, I could take that back off. Maybe it's with the, there we go. Okay, sorry, it was with the Wand of the Force. So you can take that off, and that guy will fill up and will never give up its stuff and will always be full. That's another way of doing it. But I plan on having all of this full, plus this full, plus those full all the time. So at least until I'm, making stuff. Now, the other good thing is with these guys with sparks, and those guys over there with sparks, plus these guys, when I do something like here, then, in the terrestrial agglomeration plate, when I make more TerraSteel, all pools will be sucked from. And so if I have, 5 plus 4 is 9, 10, 11 pools, and it normally takes half a pool, that only takes a mere fraction of each of the pools. And so it leaves them full a lot longer. Okay, so let me replace this and remap all these. I'll show you how to replace it at least. That's nothing special here. So let's actually put this back down right here just so we can block against it. And put this guy against it. Now we can get rid of this. And don't forget, we have to remap or repoint this with here. we point it to the spreader. There we go. And so now, if we look at that, it's going to be filled up because all these guys, oh, you know what? That is excellent. They all retained it. How cool. Maybe it's because it was in the same spot. I don't have to remap them. How wonderful. That was a pleasant surprise. So notice this guy's keeping up a lot more. There's other things we can do. Yeah, it looks real good. Excellent. We've got tons of mana generation going on now. These guys will start building up, and we can now move on to bigger and better things. Let me toss this guy down because I don't need it in my inventory. It should get sucked up if, yep. So it means I could decrease this time down a little bit. You know, we've already got plenty in here, so this setup is keeping up, no problem. Okay, just love those particle effects. It's all filling up. So really cool. Okay, the next thing I want to do is, all right, I can go directly for that high-end armor right now because we have everything we need. We've got, all I'd have to do is make some of these runes. These Mana Steel helmets are very simple. It's just 24 of the Mana Steel. And then the TerraSteel. We already can make TerraSteel and Living with Twigs, right? Every single one of these follows that same pattern with just a different rune. So I could absolutely make this right now. This is pretty neat stuff. But I want to get some of these, Wills of Varric. So I think we're going to hold off. Now, I can add these in anytime. There's many different wills, and you'll see once we get to fighting the Gaia Guardian, the Gaia Spirit, that we're going to do that. But I want to show you guys what it's like to go through fighting the Gaia Guardian, one of the hardest Guardian, or boss fights in here with this armor. We're going to see how well it does, especially with the choices I made. Things like tough skin, healthy to get me extra armor. So we're going to probably fight the Gaia Guardian coming up soon. Probably not this episode, but next episode. But there's a lot of other things we can do. So Botania, if we look in here, there's some other neat things. I talked in the past about these rods here, and they do some neat things. But the one thing I want to go after is the Pyroclast Amulet. Right? So there's the Pyroclast Amulet. And if we look at what it can be made with, that's also the Crimson Pendant. Well, that's what we want to work towards, because that's pretty much full fire immunity, fire and lava immunity. But that requires this Gaia Spirit comes from beating the Gaia Guardian. So we're going to do the first tier first. So we're going to need a Rune of Fire and a Rune of Summer. Now, I made a Rune of Summer, and we still have one Rune of Fire left. So let's gather, what do we need for that? We needed 4 pieces of string and a Mana Steel. We already have that. Let me grab some string. And this was done on Pyroclast. This is done in a crafting table, so cool. Should have everything we need. Grab this, and this will use mana in our mana tablet. And we have not had anything in here this whole time, and now we can finally make that. Well, we could have actually made it before, but it's just one of those things that I haven't made it. So now we technically don't need this lava charm. Let's see what other kind of rings there are. There are, so the Ring of Thor, that's obtained from the Gaia Guardian. Pretty much any of these purple ones right here. These are the 4 rings that come from the Gaia Guardian. We will fight him multiple times. And we've seen the Cordata ring. I'm not sure what Ring of the Mantle is without looking it up, but Ring of Magnetization we have. So we have these 2. We can also get the Greater Ring of Magnetization. I just don't need even further and faster items coming to me. I'm okay with that. And it's not too bad. It's just one of these TerraSteel nuggets, and we now can make that. Ring of Correction, I'm not sure, but the Ring of Far Reach might be really cool because, that's just this Elementium, but we do need to make I think this is the 3rd tier. Yeah, this is the 3rd tier. So it requires a 2nd tier and a 1st tier of the runes, and then 2 mana times. So it's not too bad. We've already made the Rune of Summer. Well, you just saw me use it at least, and that's very simple. And a Rune of Fire. So we could make this Rune of Pride and then get the Ring of Far Reach. And what that would allow me to do is, so you can see about right here. This is where I can reach it. See, I can't reach it there, but I can reach it here. That would allow me to reach like 2 or 3 more blocks further, and I could reach over there. Handy, but it's not crucial, right? It's fun to have. And then the Fairy Ring, I believe that places stuff over your head. I think it places a little little fairy pixies above your head, and they fight with you. If I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken, that's what that does. So, so either one of those rings, but really, I want to hold out for these rings here, and those are just epic. And when we get to them, I'll show you more about what they do. So those are really slick. So let me check the time right now. I think we're running over. So yeah, I think we're just going to have to wrap it up here. So I think what we're going to do next time is we are going to probably upgrade these mana spreaders just so that our altar goes a little bit faster. These guys will be filled up by then because I'm going to keep this guy stocked with some coal, and it'll all these pools will all be filled up. Oh, you know what? We forgot one last thing here. Let's do this. Let's put this down. And so I can do this pretty much any way I want, but I think what I want to do is I'll place a block here so that I can place this facing that way. All right. And then all I have to do is, in order to shut this off, I could break one of the blocks, but I want to have an automated way. And so we're kind of done with everything that we need right now. So let's say I'm standing right here. I want to be able to reach over here and hit the switch. So if I hit that, it turns it off. And then all I have to do is hit it again with my wand next time I want to open it up, and it pulls more from the pools. So very simple, easy way to automate, make it nice and quick without having to break and replace and so on. Just hit the switch. So, all right, guys, it's time to wrap up, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take it easy. Bye.